Hey WedSetters, I'm Lisa Brenchley, host of the WedSetter podcast, and I've helped thousands of couples create their best day ever on the beautiful island of Bali. We are your guide to Bali weddings, where we will talk to the finest wedding vendors in the industry. We chat to the people running Bali's leading wedding venues, real brides sharing their best day ever, and other clever folk doing really great things in Bali. You'll hear wedding planning tips and tricks, local hotspots, and hidden Bali gems you don't want to miss. Let's get you down the aisle.
Probably the craziest request was someone who's getting married in Uluwatu, and they liked all the monkeys. You know, all the monkeys that are there in Uluwatu. I'm petrified of them. They wanted to see if we could get one of the monkeys to be the ones that brought the rings down the aisle.
Yeah, like that's something that you wouldn't even foresee coming.
No, you cannot predict it.
Yeah.
But at least having someone here, you're the first to know. You'll be in the air, for example, in that situation.
Yeah.
At least you've got someone, you're not scared at the airport and be like, oh, what happens now?
Yeah.
You can hopefully have someone that can offer you some guidance through that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I actually love the smell of fireworks more than I love fireworks. But I find pyro.
I was about to say pyro. They seem really popular at the moment.
Well, I like them because they're a much more affordable option, and you can get a bigger impact in the sense that photography-wise, you can get a lot closer up, and how it interacts with the couple. The light actually reflects off their skin. It's so much more dynamic, and you've got multiple ways to use them. You can have them coming up. You can have them as a waterfall coming down. You can have them circling the couple as they do the first dance. Like, there's just so much to play with, and it's much more creative and flexible in terms of delivery.
In today's episode, I talked to Tash from Plan A, who's a wedding planner in Bali. She shares why you should be using a wedding planner, her best wedding entertainment for Bali, and also how to save money when planning your best day ever. Lots of awesome tips and more in today's episode. Take a listen. Today, I will be talking to a woman no stranger to Bali weddings. She's the powerhouse behind Plan A Weddings in Bali, and she is Tash.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome to finally get you in here.
I know, it's taken a while.
You're a busy bee.
The schedule is crazy.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. But today was quite serendipitous.
Yeah.
Really glad our schedules crossed and finally here.
Yeah, we had a last minute cancellation and I put it out to Tash and she was like, I'm in.
Yes.
So yeah, it was great. To kick off the podcast, I usually ask, what is something like crazy, wild that has happened maybe in your planning journey, or maybe something that someone's suggested or asked for that you can think of?
Well, I've got two that I can think of straight away because they're just like sort of burnt into my brain. One that's happened to us. So as you know, I do a lot of weddings in Nusa Lembongan.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of people don't realise with Nusa Lembongan is unless you're having it at a resort where they have majority of the accessories and facilities there, we literally need to rent boats to bring all the furniture, the flatware, the florals, everything, including power. We need to bring whole generators there.
Yeah, right.
And I remember this one particular wedding, the waves were, you can't predict the swell. When it's a wedding, you just have to go. And the swell was so big that day, it knocked one of the boats that we had rented and the entire generator fell off the boat and sunk to the bottom of the ocean.
Oh my goodness.
So we got there and we had no power for that. The celebrant got the day wrong. So we didn't have a celebrant for that day as well. And I actually went to a beach club and drank some tequila and thought, okay, so I've got no power. I've got no one to marry them. I guess I'm going to have to do this. And then just by chance, we found a generator on the island that someone could rent us, bumped into a celebrant that I knew on the island who happened to be taking a day off.
Meant to be.
Yeah, so it all worked out. But probably the craziest request was someone who's getting married in Uluwatu, and they liked all the monkeys. You know, all the monkeys that are there in Uluwatu. I'm petrified of them. They wanted to see if we could get one of the monkeys to be the ones that brought the rings down the aisle. And I wasn't sure if they were being serious or not. They insisted on it, and I said, you will never see those rings again.
I've thought that, yeah.
We are not going to get monkeys to bring your rings down the aisle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was a flat no?
Flat no.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
Fair enough. I was like, did it happen?
No way. I'm not risking your rings with monkeys.
You see so much these days, like when people go to the monkey forest and they like lose sunglasses and phones and bags
it's too
and
much. And also I'm just scared of them. Like I'm so petrified.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Tell me a little bit about Plan A. How did it come about? Why Bali?
It came about by accident. In full disclosure, never thought of being a wedding planner. In fact, I didn't even know it was a job. But I am half Indonesian. I've spent basically my whole life here.
Yeah.
And as such, I've got a lot of friends overseas who would come to Bali a lot, who see Bali as their second home. And this was about sort of 11 years ago, where people were getting married here, but no one was really looking after their pre and post events. So they'd have these villas where they'd be like, oh, Tash, we've got this great villa, but we need a DJ for the day. Or we've bought all these drinks duty free, but do you know anyone who can serve them? We're having a hens. Right. So I kind of thought, okay, well, there's a bit of a niche there for
standard
people.
Questions too. I remember asking all those questions to my planner.
And for someone who was living here anyway, I'm like, oh, I know someone who does that. Oh, I know someone who does that.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, there must be some sort of market here where people have got the wedding sorted, but no one's really doing like pre and post. So I thought, okay, I'll start Plan A, and we just specialize in the pre and post. And that was fully booked in the first year.
Right.
And we got lots of inquiries for weddings, but I was like, oh, God, that's a bit crazy. I'm not going to do someone's wedding.
Not going to touch that,
That's way too much pressure.
Yeah.
So I kept saying, no, no, no. And then I remember this one couple kept saying, no, we want you. And I kept saying, no, no, no. And they said, okay, we'll postpone our wedding until you say yes.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I can't live with that pressure either. So I did it. Absolutely fell in love with it and never looked back. And that was awesome. That. Yeah.
That's so good. And I mean, you've been going so well this season in particular. I've just seen so many of your weddings. I've heard a little whisper of an expansion. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's an idea that I'm hoping to cement by the end of this year. I was invited earlier this year to a conference in Dubai for some of the top wedding planners around the world. We all got together there. It was an amazing experience, but I just saw a real market there for what Plan A does. There are obviously so many talented wedding planners over there, but no one really doing exactly what we do here, which is sort of that in-between between that sort of ostentatious 5-day, big spectacle Arabian wedding and also the small elopements. There was that real sort of market there. And considering their seasons are on opposites to Bali, I thought, why not?
Yeah.
So I'm heading there in November to potentially sign all the paperwork and then do the expansion. But fingers crossed. Let's see if it happens. I'm prepared to fail, but I'll kill myself if I don't try.
Oh, you've got to try.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. That would always be advice for sure. What are your, let's jump straight into wedding planning now.
Yeah.
What are your top 5 reasons that couples should use a wedding planner?
Yeah. So you probably need a wedding planner, first of all, because I always say we're like a neutral sounding board. A bride and groom are going to get ideas or being told what to do by one of their parents, someone's sister, someone's cousin got married in Bali and this is what they did. And it can be really overwhelming for them.
It's so common.
And I just want, at least I try and be as neutral as possible. So when they throw an idea at me going, oh, well, my mum's, best friend's kid got married and they said this and this. And I'll say, well, look, here are the pros, here are the cons. Is it going to work for the wedding sort of that you guys are envisioning, yes or no? So I guess being sort of a sounding board, negotiating on your behalf. So if one day is not available for you, trying to find the next best day available, and also consolidating all the emails from all the vendors for all your inquiries. You just are going to get the email from your one planner and that's it. That's all you have to deal with. And then all those 20 to 30 other emails and invoices and everything, all that clutter gets removed because planning's already taking up so much space in your brain. You want it to be just simplified and easy as possible. And I think with any destination wedding, I guess it's just having the trust of someone on the ground, knowing as you know, with Indonesia as well, they're constantly updating their regulations and rules and everything.
All the time.
You need someone in the know so that you know what you're doing is being done within the parameters of the law of the country. Yeah,
I had a situation the other day where I was talking to a wedding planner and they said on that particular day they were expecting like 80 guests to arrive for a wedding and the government had changed the VIP entrances coming in. You know how you can do the express and it was no longer for that day.
Yep.
It was literally like, you can no longer do this.
Yeah.
And so all of those people that were expecting to get off those planes, you know, they
hurried through. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually remember that day, and it's happened just recently as well.
Yeah.
For various political reasons, and there's just so much unpredictability. It's really useful to have someone on the ground to help you with that.
Yeah, like that's something that you wouldn't even foresee coming.
No, you cannot predict it.
Yeah.
But at least having someone here, you're the first to know. You'll be in the air, for example, in that situation.
Yeah.
At least you've got someone, you're not scared at the airport and be like, oh, what happens now?
Yeah.
You can hopefully have someone that can offer you some guidance through that.
Yeah.
Hey WedSetters, are you having trouble staying on track with your budget? We've designed an editable wedding budget that's already filled in. You can add, edit, or remove to suit your day and stay on track throughout your entire wedding planning journey. Simply head to wedsetter.com/wedding-budget to download. Happy planning!
Tell me about some of the best weddings you've ever done and why they're so special.
I actually can't say that I've got best weddings. I think what makes a wedding so great are the clients themselves. I just say it all the time, I'm so lucky. I get the most incredible clients ever. Like, they become lifelong friends. Way back since when I started, I'm still in contact with the clients that I first said yes to, and clients all the way from 2012 until now. When I go back to Dubai, catching up with some clients there. When I go to Sydney, I catch up with clients there. I get to follow their growth with their families and their babies. So when it comes to my favorite wedding, I wouldn't say it's a wedding per se. It's connecting with my clients, and my favorite weddings are the ones where I've become lifelong friends with the people getting married.
Oh, that's awesome.
I feel like I'm really lucky with that, yeah.
I feel like, though, that's almost a credit to you, though, because you're, like, bubbly and outgoing and people would just be like, I want to be friends with her.
I just want to be friends with all my clients. I just love them.
I think you probably attract similar people to yourself.
Yeah, maybe. Because, I think I just love, I just get as excited as they do, like they tell me their ideas and I love sitting there and listening going, and then what, and then what,
and then what. So invested.
I get invested. I'm like, okay, so this is how it can work here and this is how it can work there. And I just get so involved in it. And, that's why I love it. I just love it for that. And
so you can't think of any, like, moments that when you think about some of those weddings, fireworks, entertainment. I love the fireworks, but again, it comes down to the personal couples. I mean, for example, we had a couple recently, and obviously, with the pandemic, it affected everyone, and everyone was put on hold. So what they did with their wedding, they finally were able to have their destination wedding, but then they also fit in a slot for the sibling of the couple to get proposed to with the bouquet that she was, instead of tossing the bouquet. I've seen this on TikTok, Instagram. I think that is so beautiful. So she was about to do that. And then they walk it over. Yes. And then the fiancé was there with the ring. So that was pretty special. Oh, that's beautiful. Moments like that. And don't get me wrong, I love all the entertainment options like the fireworks and the fire dance, the neon drummers. They all make and create magic. But it's the personal touches the individuals make, I think, that make each wedding special. Yeah, for sure. I would probably agree with that too. What do you think the benefits of using a wedding planner over trying to do it yourself? And the reason I ask this is we get asked this all the time. Some brides in particular, I just don't think want to let go. And so they want to do a lot of it and then kind of hand it over like a little bit closer to the date. Do you ever get? Look, there's no reason why a bride or groom can't be as involved as they want to be from the very beginning. In fact, I encourage it. This is, your special day and you can't be here to do it. So be involved as much as you want, like be as detailed as you want. But I think the benefit of having a planner is they know from day dot exactly what your vision is, any minor change, because we'll be noting it down and we'll be having almost like a timeline and chronological order of the changes as they happen so that they're there on the day to ensure it all happens. Whereas if you're having just a coordinator for the day of, you're going to be so busy. There might be, no matter how detailed you are, you might have things miss something or you haven't had that sounding board that I mentioned before of, okay, if this doesn't work out or
what's your second plan for this? What's your third plan for this? What would you like to do as an alternative?
Would you call it a plan B?
A plan B, plan C.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. What would you like to happen? So you're not constantly going up to the bride going, hey, remember that thing that you wanted? It can't work. What do you want now? For them to think on the spot. You want to be able to have all these ideas with someone so they can be like, okay, I've got the authority to make this call.
And you can essentially leave the couple alone on their day.
Let them enjoy it so you can organically create the day. I guess also it's very confusing for vendors to be instructed by the couple and have one thing, and then we're told a second thing from both of them, and it's like Chinese whispers.
Yeah.
And then on the day there is often a lot of confusion saying, but they told me they wanted this. Oh, but they told me this is what they wanted. And they both might be true. It was just two different informations given to two different people.
At two different times.
And it's just, you do not have time for confusion on a day that you may think will go on forever, but it goes in the flash.
It does. Yeah, I can
So
vouch
fast.
for that for sure. What are some of the most common mistakes that you think couples can make when planning their wedding? What have you experienced? And
I do, and this is not me trying to sound like crass, but I think clients trying to haggle prices down as much as they can with vendors in particular, I think that's only to your detriment. And I understand everyone has a budget, but I think what people fail to understand is, sure, you can always find a cheaper option, but remember that the price you pay reflects the product or service you get. So I do see a lot of things on these Facebook groups and things going, oh, I was quoted this much for, say, flowers, for example, but I only want it to be this much. You can get it for that much, but don't expect your Pinterest board inspiration to look like that when your budget is a quarter of the price of that. And I think people really need to understand what their money is going toward and what to expect for it.
yeah, for sure. I think that's a really good line that you just said there, and we'll probably pull it out, but it does reflect very heavily on what you spend, for sure.
Yeah. And another thing I think as well is differentiating the role of the planner. So we're there to plan your wedding, but we're not there to, and each vendor will have their own manager on site, but we cannot be 100 places at once. We're there to plan it as much as we can. But, we had a recent wedding where, one drink was specifically for the bride, and you can tell that as many times as you want. But at the end of the day, if I'm over there with the bridesmaids
and the bar person changes,
and the bar person switches shift, even though you've told it in emails, WhatsApps and stuff, it eventually does fall onto the bar manager.
Yeah.
And he needs to ensure their staff are doing that. So you can only do so much before people have to take responsibility for their own actions and mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. What is some of the best entertainment you've seen in Bali? You would have seen it all.
I did my brother's birthday, and I think I must have hired nearly every entertainment option there was. We had mermaids swimming in the pool, which I absolutely adored. I just think that adds another element, because the pool often doesn't get used at a Bali wedding till the very end when everyone jumps in.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to use it, because candles are pretty, but then when everyone wants to jump in later, because I don't think a lot of people know, but they're actually held in place with fishing line. Otherwise, if they weren't, they'd all sort of, with physics, go into one corner.
Yeah.
So having it in line means no one can jump in earlier because accidents.
You've got to get them out.
To slice themselves.
Yeah.
So having something interactive in the pool, like floating, like silver balls or mermaids or something like that, is really cool to have. Bands are amazing. As you know, Lydia's a really good friend of mine, and I can't vouch for her enough to be at events. She's just fantastic.
She is.
They're just so dynamic. Recently worked with Matt Pickles as well. He's fantastic. And I always work with Lucky Aces. Again, another great act. So apart from music as well, which I think is like the heart and soul of any event, I really love the neon drummers. I think they're great because it's not just something to watch, but something to interact with.
Yeah.
They actually get people involved to hit those drums, the water splashes.
And it's so awesome. It's not something that you've ever really seen before either.
And it's applicable. You can use it for like weddings, you can use it for birthdays, corporate events. They're really sort of versatile.
Yeah, awesome. And fireworks?
Yeah, fireworks. I do. Don't get me wrong. I actually love the smell of fireworks more than I love fireworks. But I find pyro.
I was about to say pyro.
I actually prefer
they seem really popular at the moment.
Well, I like them because they're a much more affordable option, and you can get a bigger impact in the sense that photography wise, you can get a lot closer up, and how it interacts with the couple. The light actually reflects off their skin. It's so much more dynamic. And you've got multiple ways to use them. You can have them coming up. You can have them as a waterfall coming down. You can have them circling the couple as they do the first dance. Like, there's just so much to play with, and it's much more creative and flexible in terms of delivery.
Yeah, right. And they're not trying, they are still trying to go off at a specific time.
Yes, but it's electronically.
I always wonder how they get the fireworks to go to the music to just...
Oh, yeah. Okay, so fireworks, you've got something down at the cliff at the bottom or whatever with radio and this, whereas with pyro as well, you're a lot more exact with it. It's a click of a button. It's all electronic.
And you could almost have that button.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's better to have someone to do it.
I was about to say, you clearly don't do it.
If you're a client of mine, you'll see me getting just jumping up and down going, oh, this is so great. Like, I get so involved.
Yeah, I can imagine. You'd be like over there going, left, right. Like, yeah.
Hey WedSetters, are you looking for behind-the-scenes content creation for your wedding day? Introducing Treasure the Bride. They discreetly capture moments of pure happiness and tears of joy that you will treasure forever. Your videos and the full unedited gallery they take on the day will be delivered within 48 hours of your wedding day. Head to the WedSetter directory to find them under content creation to check availability and packages. Happy planning!
This is a question we get asked a fair bit, so I thought I would put this over to you. It's much better coming from a planner. What are your best timeline recommendations for a Bali wedding? Ceremony time, cocktail. Okay.
I would say the sort of sweet spot is about a 4 to 4:30 p.m. Ceremony.
Does that change throughout the year, do you think, with like sun setting?
I think the sun...
Does it change very much?
Yeah, sunset changes more around the sort of like 6 to 6:30 time. All that would mean is that we just change when you go off to do your personal photos after this ceremony. I wouldn't suggest any later than that because, as you know, most Bali venues have a midnight curfew. So any later than that, and you're really cutting into how much time you've got the wedding.
Your party time.
Any earlier, you really are hot. Like the number of clients I get who are like, no, we don't want to waste too much time. Ask for an earlier ceremony. And then on the day say, can we push it right back? Because it's sweltering. It's not just hot, it's humid. So I would say guest arrival at 4:30 ceremony.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
then go on from there.
Yeah, okay. When do you think all of your vendors should be locked in?
I am...
And who do you choose first?
I'm a stickler for getting everyone in and done as soon as possible.
Right at the start.
That's just me. And everyone will operate differently.
Yeah.
I just like having I'll have a client, what do they need? Tick, 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 all done. I want them to have peace of mind so they can focus on other things at home, such as the dress, the rings, there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes besides the wedding part. So I like to know that I can do my part in helping them with this part, having that all sorted. I would also choose the things that go first, photography, videography, hair and makeup, and entertainment options. Those would be my first ones. Obviously venue. Venue would be the same time as your planner.
Yep, okay. And what are some of the best tips for saving money in getting married in Bali?
So I would repurpose as much of your florals as you can.
Yeah, awesome.
That's what we try and do in every wedding. So see if you can forego all the, cocktail furniture decor and use them from the aisle. Get them into smaller bunches. Pop them up over there as well. Even for the wedding arch, repurpose that for your photo booth if you're having one of them. So then you've already got it back.
Yeah, great idea.
You've got all these sort of secondary options that you can redo. We even use them to help decorate the bar and so it fills up. And especially if you've got a venue that has different sections for each area, repurpose everything, bring it over. And yes, it's a bit more work, but it saves you those costs. If you've got a huge bridal party, and sometimes we do, hair and makeup is not always going to be cheap. See how many people are happy to pay for their own. You don't always have to foot the bill for everything. Giving them the option to chip in as well. Same for rooms in the villa. If you've got everyone staying in Bali, offer the rooms at the villa and say, look, when you break it up for the number of nights, turns out to be the same cost as hotels. Put it as a sort of balance. Say first in, first served, and then you're saving that money as well to go on other things because they're paying back for the accommodation.
Yeah.
There's
Great
so many
tips. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm write all those down. We get asked it all the time. So, I'll definitely share those and say care of Tash from Plan A. Yesterday we went out to some of our guests, some of our followers from our Instagram page to ask them what they would like to ask Tash. How long should you wait on a reply from a planner? Not just a planner, a vendor.
A vendor, okay. This is totally subjective. If you're a client of mine, you'll know I reply at all hours of the night, and usually you'll get a response from me within 24 hours, if not less. That's not to say that's what you should expect from planners, though. Peak season, it can take a few days to hear from someone, and vendors more so. If you think about it, each vendor is getting inquiries from all the planners. So they might be dealing with, 5 inquiries for the same day, and each one is just as detailed, and they've got to factor in travel costs, they've got to factor in the import costs for whatever the flowers are doing. Some are just don't have a team big enough to support the admin side of things. So I do know that it can take up to a week or two, but if you're waiting beyond 2 weeks for a reply, in my opinion,
that's too long.
That's way too long.
Yeah, right.
Way too long. I wouldn't, if I was a customer, I wouldn't be happy with that.
And what would you suggest if they have waited 2 weeks?
I would follow up with the planner. And if you haven't heard anything from the planner, follow up with the vendor itself and just make sure that it is on track. And then I would explore third options in case you are someone who is a little bit more anxious, and just to have a backup in case you don't hear. Because what if they already have you in, but they haven't bothered to communicate that with you? Then you don't really want someone who's not communicating with you in the first place anyway.
Yeah.
What are they going to be like on the day?
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully your planner will help with that one.
Yes, that's another good reason to have one. Hello, it's me again, it's Tash. Hi. And they're like, hi, Tash.
Yeah, but I understand you do like a lot of Zoom calls too. So it's not just like, and I think the message in that answer to couples is they're not just sitting in Bali sipping cocktails by the pool.
I don't even drink cocktails.
No, but they're everyone's working. Everyone's busy. And you explaining then that, like what they're doing, breaking down those invoices for like 5 different
for one day or something. That's an example for like, and then multiply that for 365 days of the year. Because remember, just because you celebrate Christmas, someone might not, and they want a Christmas Day wedding or whatever. It's literally every day multiplied by all the couples. So it does take a while. And no, I don't think it's fair to think that just because, everyone's used to come here as a Bali holiday. Those who live here, it's far from a holiday. It's so different, isn't it? It's far from a holiday.
Yeah, I've just learnt that.
It's I have friends who come here and they are like, do you think we'll ever see you? And I'm like, probably not. Probably not, because I wake up at 6 a.m. That's when I start my day, and I go to bed about 10 and I don't see anyone. Yeah. So I'm either on Zoom or whatever. But, with the response times, I think that's also a good question just to speak to your planner about and sort of have an indication from the beginning so you can already set your boundaries and set your expectations. What's your typical response time and what's the longest I would ever have to wait from you? And, giving some flexibility here and there. That way, based on your personality type, what can you handle and what are you happy with? Choose from there.
Yeah, I guess because everybody's so different,
Everyone's
right?
Different, yeah.
Some people would just let it go and other people
would just
chill. Be so anxious about it.
I've had clients who are like, this is what we want, and then they contact me 2 weeks before the wedding going, anything else we need to do? And then I've got others who WhatsApp me every single day.
Dream client.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
wow.
It just varies.
This question you may just hate, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How much does a Bali wedding cost?
Yes. We have inboxes like overflowing with that question. I'm sure you get that question all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
How much does a Bali wedding cost? How much does dinner cost? Well, where's the restaurant? What are you ordering? How many people are you ordering for?
How many courses?
Is there any allergies that we should know about? Are there kids' meals involved?
Is there drinks with that?
So it's the same thing. Yeah. It depends. Are you having it at a hotel, at a villa? Are you including that into your budget with the minimum nights and the event fees? Are your flowers imported? Are they local? But how many of them do you want? Do you have a big bridal party? Are you going to be paying for your whole bridal party? Are you paying for flights? I cannot say.
How many guests is the biggest one for me?
Well, the biggest thing that's going to fluctuate is your F&B cost, your food and beverage. The more people you have, the more expensive it's going to be. And then your decor costs go up from there because you've got more tables to decorate.
More chairs.
And then you've got chairs and then you've got furniture. So it just extends by that. So I cannot answer that question. I think that's close to impossible to answer.
I'm sorry, but I did set you up there. I just wanted to see what you would say.
Yeah, look, no, there is no answer to that.
Yeah, it's hard. We kind of say, it does fluctuate, venue, just on the major things. Choose your venue, how many guests.
I think it might be easier as well if you offer packages, like hotels and stuff. Then you've got a sort of a set idea. We don't do packages. Everything's really sort of bespoke and a la carte. I customize every single element. So it's probably a lot harder for me to answer that as well. But I do know that other planners do offer packages and stuff, which is a lot easier for guests to clients to sort of have a fixed idea and decide if that's the right decision for them or not.
Yeah, awesome. We have some rapid fire questions for you right now. We want to know your answer. Don't think about them too much.
Okay.
Band or DJ?
Oh, okay. For my clients, I would choose.
I'm sorry. It's just one answer or the other.
For clients, band. Myself, I like a DJ.
Yeah, right. Set menu or shared plates?
Share plates.
Wedding sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Cocktail or sit-down reception?
Cocktail.
Ooh, champagne or cocktails?
Neither. I only drink tequila. Only. That's all I'll drink.
Wow. Your wedding's going to be wild. Yeah. First dance or welcome dance?
What's a welcome dance?
Like when the bridal party comes in.
Oh, welcome dance.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I would cringe with the first dance. I'm not doing one.
Oh, wow.
Well, he might want to. I might have to learn how to compromise. But, yeah.
Just don't want all the eyes on you?
Yeah, and
dancing?
And dancing. And I'm not a dancer.
Yeah, but no one's
I know. I would just rather
do something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Your day, your way.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Tash, thank you for joining me. It's been so nice to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for creating this time and to keep persisting with me, because I know it's been a little bit tricky, but I've been really looking forward to this and seeing you again.
Yeah, me too.
And thank you for having me.
You're going so well. I just see so many stunning weddings on Instagram. I feel like every second day it's like, wow, there's another one from Plan A. Wow. So congratulations on such a successful season.
I couldn't do it without my team. They're amazing.
Please follow, rate and review wherever you listen and watch your podcasts, and follow us on Instagram at WedSetter_. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye.